Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am back with another speed build, and this is going to be another apartment renovation and another part of my Color-Drenched series where we are going through and creating apartments based on primarily one color and trying to drench the space with that color. And today we are tackling the color of peach. This one was pretty heavily commented on my last video, and so I thought it'd be a fun idea to see what we have in a more peach color in the game and see what we could come up with. So I hope you'll enjoy this one. If you do and you'd like to download it, this apartment will be available on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You can also find it under the hashtag Gryphi, and that information will be in the description down below as well. So I am renovating 121 Hakim house in San Myshuno, and this is going to be a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment. And I was kind of imagining it was just for some roommates. It could be siblings, but I didn't specify either of the rooms as specific age ranges. They're just very colorful, peachy colored rooms, and I'm overall pretty happy with how this one came out. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because I was having trouble placing what items we had in game for peach other than the new things that came with the sleek bathroom kit, because I knew we got like a peachy colored tile and bathroom fixtures, but other than that, I couldn't remember what we had. So this was just an experiment and a really fun one to do. This wasn't like a color that even crossed my mind, so I'm really glad for all of the suggestions. If you have any other ones, please keep those coming, as I'm having a lot of fun with this series. I am working on some other things, but they're just a little bit bigger than apartments, so they're taking a little bit longer. So no worries on that if you're tired of the apartments. There will be some bigger builds coming soon. I just haven't finished filming and editing them yet, as they are larger. So anyway, in here, I am working on the kitchen. I also got to use this new hanging plant from the sleek bathroom kit. I love it so much. I put it up on top of the cabinetry, just like hanging down there. There's a nice coffee pot, and I'm playing around with different rugs in this space. I was very indecisive about which rugs I wanted to use where. Some have more peach in them than others. I also ended up having to use some other like similar colors because we are limited with The Sims 4, but I think it worked out okay in the end. And for a very long time, I do have these couches here from Island Living, but I actually am going to be changing them later on to a different couch. And these curtains from Cats and Dogs were perfect. They are the exact color I needed, so I was very excited about that, especially because this apartment has a taller wall height, and those are medium height curtains. And they worked beautifully with these arched windows from Businesses and Hobbies. I've been trying to renovate some more of the apartments I don't touch as often, so this is one of them. I recently did both of these Zenview 2-story apartments, and I will eventually tackle some of the massive apartments in this world as well. But I'm really curious if any of you think we will continue to get more apartment buildings in future packs. I know we originally got these in City Living, and then years later in Eco Lifestyle we got 4 more apartments. And that was the last time we got this style. We now can create our own with for rent, but that's not really the same. So I would like to see more apartments like this in a future pack, and I'd be very curious if that's something y'all would like to see and what kind of pack we think might be able to add more apartments. Because I personally love the restraints of having the shape already there and figuring out how to do that, and then just having decorating the interior, because I really like building houses and exteriors of builds, but sometimes I just really want to renovate the interior, so I think it would be a cool addition to have some more of those in the game. But anyway, I'm working on the living room now, and another pack that has so much of this beautiful peach swatch is Cozy Kitsch. The side table I put here in the living room. I also grabbed these gorgeous chairs for the dining table. There are just so many items from that kit that are perfectly peach, and I was so excited for them. Including this little rug here, which I believe ends up being in the kitchen in the end. I move it around a couple of different times, and it brings in that blue swatch, which I think really worked nicely with the artwork that I put over on the wall next to the kitchen. I also end up trying to put some like blue molding on the walls, and you'll see what I mean in a little while. It's a piece from the Decor to the Max kit. I don't remember exactly when I grab it, and I thought it was kind of cool, but in the end it just felt a little out of place here. I think just because I would have preferred if it were a peach color and it just fully drenched the space, but since it was a different color, it felt a little odd. So I didn't end up keeping that in the end, but I do want to do another color-drenched apartment sometime soon using those molding pieces, which I know are not on screen right now, but when they are, I will point them out. Because that's kind of where the idea originally came from for this series. The first one I did, I believe, was a teal using those molding pieces, and it was really fun. So I will point them out when they're here, but for right now, I'm just moving stuff around in the kitchen, changing my mind about where the cutting boards are going to go, and trying to find a little console table to put in here as like a makeshift island. And I put a couple of these stools at it as well. These ones are from high school years, and they're sort of a peachy color. They're a different like shade of peach than the rest of the apartment, so you can kind of see what I mean when it comes to the colors having some variety. But I really liked those. I also enjoyed this vase of flowers that I put on the counter, as it brought in more of that blue color that I have throughout the space as a little bit of an accent. And I also added a couple of these light swatches throughout, as they were a perfectly peach color as well. And then I changed the side table over here to be the same one that I was using before from Cozy Kitsch. And then we should be placing down these wall paneling or wall molding pieces now. They are really pretty, but I feel like it was just kind of taking away from the peach color in here. You might disagree. There's something easy to put back if you would like to, but I decided not to keep them in the end. However, I did find these really cool like bench pieces from high school years and tried to make a sort of like built-in window seat with them, which I thought was really nice. And then I'm swapping out a couple of the rugs here. I really enjoyed the one that I put in the living room space, as it really brings in the peach colors as well as some pinks and that blue that I have throughout the space. I'm not really sure what style this apartment is. It's definitely kind of cutesy. I guess it's kind of similar to the lavender one that I just posted, which makes sense because the items we have here tend to be a little bit cutesier in shape with the color that I'm using. And the couches I'm actually going to swap out for are also from Cozy Kitsch, and I just like them a little bit better, although these island living ones are nice, and I never use them, so that's kind of why I was trying to. And I also forgot Cozy Kitsch had a peach swatch of the couch, but once I placed that down, there was no going back, so you'll see that in a little while. I did build this over a couple of days, so the second day is when I ended up swapping out the couch. But right now I'm just getting a nice lamp here. I also decorated the little island piece I put in the kitchen and got some cushions over on the bench. I kind of like pop around this space and go back and forth quite a bit as I change colors and change my mind and, you know, fix things up with a fresh set of eyes. So here I am just getting a little bit of artwork over here and some plants. I think this area looks so cozy. I feel like it would be the perfect place to curl up with a good book. And the little room over next to it is going to be a office space. But here is the couch that I had mentioned from Cozy Kitsch. It is so cute. I really like this swatch, and I don't think I've ever used it before, so I had to use that in this space. And then here is the little office. It's pretty simple in here. I just have a bookcase and a desk. There's a computer, a little bit of clutter, and I do end up bringing in those wall molding pieces from the rest of the apartment in here as well. And they end up staying in here even though they don't end up staying in the living room. So you'll see that here in a minute. And I think it's nice that I did that, at least because if you do like them, at least they still are in one of the rooms. There was just something about it that didn't sit well with me after a while. So unfortunately, I did get rid of them in the rest of the space. But here I am cluttering up the desk. I have a pretty salt lamp, some books, this like old phone, and also this little like statue piece that I put on top of the pile of books that's built into the desk. I thought that looked really nice there. And then just like a little plant and a journal. I was kind of feeling limited at this point in the build with peach items, trying not to reuse everything that I've already used in the game. So you will see that like some things are less peach than the living space. And that was just because of the limitations. But we are going to be moving on into the bathroom now and using all of the items from the new sleek bathroom kit. I really like this one. So of course I'm using the more peachy colored ones. And I didn't really stray from this kit much when it came to the bathrooms. I really wanted to use this whole set because I think it's really pretty and it's the perfect color. So they are a little bit more modern than the rest of the apartment, but I still feel like it fits in pretty nicely. And I did get to use this little half wall piece behind the toilet, and I tried to add a little bit of clutter up in this area. Not a lot, but a little bit just to make the space feel slightly more lived in. And I got a couple of art prints up above the toilet as well. And of course I had to use that same plant that I used in the other rooms, this hanging plant on a shelf that came with Sleek Bathroom. It is so beautiful. I feel like I'm going to be overusing that from now until forever. It's just so nice. And I also really like the new pile of towels, the waffle knit towels. We just didn't have that many towels in the game. I was mostly using the base game ones. So it's really nice to have another option there. And then just getting some soap and toothbrushes and stuff on the sink, and a really pretty like succulent wall up above the tub. And now we are moving into the entryway and the hallway. I do have 2 other bathrooms in this apartment, but I didn't show decorating them on camera, as they were pretty much the same as the first one, except like I think one of them doesn't have a tub, but the other 2 do. Anyway, in the entryway, I did end up using this bookshelf from I want to say this is high school years. It might be Discover University, but I think it's high school years. Anyway, I thought that that was a nice color, and I kept the entryway pretty simple with just like a mirror and a place to put your shoes and temperature controls, a burglar alarm. And then our hallway here is also pretty simple. I have a side table, another mirror, some art prints here from Pastel Pop, and I believe like a plant. It's a really simple hallway, but it's a hallway space. There's not really supposed to be a lot going on in there, and overall I was pretty happy with it. But here you can see I'm getting rid of those molding pieces and changing the wallpaper back to the one I had in the beginning. That is a little bit less vibrant, but I thought it looked really nice. And then I am starting to figure out which beds I want to have in the 2 bedrooms. I ended up going with one from Pastel Pop and one from High School Years, and I just thought they were both really pretty. And I have a collection of random items thrown in both of these rooms right now that I thought I might use. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. It depended on how the decor started leaning once I started decorating the spaces. So in this one, I am using the Pastel Pop bed, and I have a couple of different bedside tables here. I love the tapestry I put up above the bed from High School Years. I just think it is so pretty. It has a little bit of peach in it, but a lot of other colors as well. And this one is just a really fun, youthful feeling room. But like I said, I was thinking both of these Sims weren't particularly old, and they were probably around the same age, just roommates, maybe in college or just out of college, like first well-paying job that they have a nice apartment together. So that was kind of the idea, and I love the colors in this space. I was also thinking that this Sim in particular in this first bedroom might be an artist, so I will be adding an easel in here. They also have a desk space, and the other bedroom, I believe, has a vanity in it. So I wanted them to be a little bit different, and also there is a desk in the office space, so there are going to be 2 spaces for Sims to use a computer in here. Actually, do I even add a computer to this desk, or do I kind of treat it as a vanity? I think I add a computer. I just at first had just makeup absolutely everywhere. I do really like this desk. It is a very specific style, but it's from Pastel Pop with that wavy edge on the top. It comes in some really fun colors, but I was just using the wood tone in here, and I should be adding that computer here any moment now. I also added some more artwork up above it, and a hanging plant with a cow plant. It is so cute. That one is from the Comfy Gamer kit, which is such a good kit. But we have moved into the other bedroom now, and you can see still going strong with the peach color vibes. And I ended up using some really cute candles over here. There's a mug by the bedside table. The radio from Cozy Kitsch was a perfect match in here, so I was excited to use that. And even though this particular room is using a lot of items from High School Years, it somehow feels a little bit older than the other room. I don't know why. I guess maybe the really chunky headboard in the other room and the playful patterns, whereas this one feels a little bit more toned back. I'm not sure if that makes sense, and you can let me know if you agree, but I really like both of these bedrooms. And here's that vanity I end up using. It is from the recent Secret Sanctuary kit, or the Bella Goth kit. And I also grabbed this really nice shelf from, oh goodness, I want to say this one's Blooming Rooms, and filled that up with all sorts of plants, which I love to do. And I had to use the hanging plant for the 3rd or 4th time in this build. It's just so nice, and I'm still really excited about it, so I feel like I'm just going to keep on using it. But I do end up adding some posters in here to make this space feel a little bit younger, and I think that helped quite a bit. I also got this makeup tray from Parenthood, and there should be, yeah, some little photos printed out over here, a nice poster that really blends into the wall. And then I also got a corkboard in here and filled that up with postcards. But that is pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Enjoy the screenshots, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.